continue. Sure. All right.
All right, we are here with Nathaniel Allen, also known as Al to those who know him. And we are very excited to have him with us. He is going to be one of our featured chalk artists that is going to be chalking at home. Due to the pandemic, we have had to change some of the things that we do for Flimp. And one of those things that we're going to do is we want to show people artists working at home and creating art with chalk at home and inspire them to do the same. And so we're going to talk with Mr. Allen for just a few minutes to get a little bit of insight into his history as an artist and his time here in Montgomery. And then we will be seeing his work. He's going to record himself creating his work, and that will also be available on the museum's website and through our social media. So welcome, Mr. Nathaniel Allen.
All right, thanks. And you can call me Al.
Okay, I will call you
If you
Al.
want. Okay.
So how long have you been in this area, or are you from here?
I have been here since 2009, as a matter of fact. Yeah, and actually I was born in Mississippi, grew up in Michigan, and we moved here when I got my job at Alabama State. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And how do you like Alabama?
It's all right. It's after coming from Mississippi, I'm acclimated now to the south. The Michigan to Mississippi jump is kind of a big one, but and back and forth. But having done that a few times, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah. It's getting better every day.
Yeah, good. I am originally from Colorado, and so.
Oh wow! Okay.
It was also kind of a big jump for me down here, but I have acclimated well also. So tell us a little bit, how long have you been making art?
Forever, for as long as I can remember, and probably a little bit longer. Yeah, and again, some of my earliest memories are of art-related stuff. Yeah, and that goes back to when I was, born in Mississippi. We moved to Michigan when I was, I think, 6 or 7 years old. And before that, there's a whole lot of scribbling and making stuff out of mud or whatever. But there was a whole lot of art stuff going on from the start, seems like.
So what would you consider one of your earliest art memories, either experiencing looking at art or even making art?
Gee, the early ones. I remember very much seeing lots and lots of pictures from children's books and illustrations, and I am very blurry on pictures that I saw and pictures I made. But I remember, and my mother remembers really well that as a little fella, they bought me lots and lots of books, and I was kind of this little tyrant about being read to from picture books, and people I didn't read, but I memorized the stories, and people had to repeat the stories and turn the pages in order. And if they tried to skip, I would get really upset and go, "No, that's this page." They'd have to go back and do every picture and story in its entirety, over and over and over and over again. And they did it, so it's their own fault.
There you go.
So and so I remember all these pictures, just seeing pictures and pictures and pictures of stuff, and it just seemed kind of normal to just make some too. And you start scribbling in the books, and then somebody says, "Here, just get a piece of paper, scribble on that," and it starts from there.
So would you say that you were encouraged to be creative and express yourself from an early age? Were you supported?
Heavily, yes, heavily. And both my parents were in education. So, they were very much, if whatever aptitude they found or that I showed or whatever interest I showed in anything kind of expressive or educational, they were just like, "Oh, here's some more, do some more, try some more." So, again, all that, all those children's books and stuff, it's like, having had a kid and having to read my fair share or sit through my fair share of, Barney and all that stuff. It gets it gets to you, it gets old. But they were, consistently like, okay, we'll do the books again. Oh, you want some more crayons? Oh, you want some more whatever? And they just, and I just kept, I gobbled it up. The more they give me, the more I want.
So as you got older in school, did you pursue the arts like in high school and beyond?
Yeah, and it's just it became kind of part of my identity in a way, whether there was kind of an art program or whatever. It's just something that was this normal thing I did. Just like going outside there was going outside to play, and then there was playing inside, and that was art stuff or book stuff. But all through school, I would, draw, whether there was a class or not, just draw stuff just because that's kind of became part of my personality, what I did.
And do you still do doodling and sketching and all of that?
Yes, my meeting notes from work are legendary because they have little heads on them and all these, strange things. And it's like, it does help me remember at this point, if I'm drawing some, boxes in perspective or whatever during a meeting, I feel like it helps me kind of remember that stuff. But yeah, it's just part of how I communicate nowadays.
Wonderful. Okay, so I have kind of a big philosophical question. Why
Okay.
in your opinion is art important? And that we're talking about all kinds of art, not just visual arts that like what you do, but why is art important in general? And then why is it important to you personally?
Okay. Well, I'll probably have almost the same answer for both. And again, it goes back to really something I just said about communication. I think as human beings express themselves and their thoughts and their ideas, language is kind of limited in a lot of ways. And I think, and I'm in a house with multilingual people who are speaking Swedish and, my wife and child Swedish and a little Spanish, and the kid now wants to learn all these other languages. And there are a lot of things. I think as you get a language with a set of words in it, there are some things that you can express better or differently. And you find out that, not, English becomes kind of limited in some ways because there's other stuff, especially in like French. I think there's a lot of tenses and genders for things that we don't have in English. And with the visual arts, I think, really it's just a form of communication that is in a lot of ways just this verbal, non-linguistic kind of communication. But I think it is essential, when it comes out, I get into kind of a lot of kind of philosophical and religious types of imagery in my artwork, as well as, comic books and pop culture stuff. But I think there are a lot of these mysteries about life and about, ethics and how to be a good human being that are really hard to express with words sometimes. But I think with imagery or with, music or with, movement or dance or whatever, or just having plays and that kind of stuff where there's a morality play that plays out. There are a lot of these really subtle things that you can express that are sometimes contradictory and sometimes difficult, or sometimes just how to deal with a mystery. And I think, art does that, specifically for me. I kind of process a lot of things by doing artwork that is inspired by them in a weird way, and not always literally translating them, but just like I'll work through some idea by making some images with that stuff in the back of my head. So it's just it's just a really valuable form of communication that I think, and actually I'll go a step further and say that in our these days where there's so much advertising and media, and in some cases, people talk about manipulation and all this kind of stuff of people, it's really important to understand how visual arts in particular, how it affects people's ideas and people's kind of emotions. And that's kind of the thing I preach in art appreciation class a little bit, where it's like, you may not want to be an artist, but you need to understand, it's to your advantage to understand how images are created and how they communicate, so that when you're in this environment of imagery, you can kind of understand, oh, this is supposed to make me feel a certain way, or this is, and people will do that for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes there are good reasons, and sometimes they're just trying to make money off of you to make you think this thing tastes good. So they put some colors in there and put some shapes in there that give you that feeling. So again, it's just a language that people are better off knowing and understanding, I think.
Very interesting. So you've mentioned your work a little bit, and I had the privilege of hearing you speak at the AAEA fall conference back
For
in.
hours and hours, right?
Yes. No. But you showed some really great artwork. And so I wondered if you had an idea already what you think you're going to do for your chalk piece, or if you'd like to give us a little teaser of what people might see.
I do, but it's early days, so it'll probably change. It may change drastically. But again, right now I'm thinking about something that is in between fairground art, which is kind of like circus or fair stuff. I hope I don't have to explain fairground art. You know what I'm talking about, when you go to the fair and there's all that lit up stuff,
like banners and
I love
eye-catching, very colorful.
Carousels and the painted horses and all that kind of business. I love that really bright, chaotic stuff. I'm also kind of into, at present, these Thangka paintings, which are these Nepalese Indian kind of Buddhist paintings that show Buddhas and deities. And again, there's a really, really fantastic decorative aspect to those that I've been into for a while. So I'm kind of combining some of those. And lately I'm thinking, maybe was it 2019? The museum had this really great show of African sculpture. It was called Beauty and Power and
Beauty, Power, Wisdom, and Beauty.
Yeah, something like that. And that was like so spectacular. So I have some ideas about combining all of that stuff into some big jumble. I don't know yet. I'll show you my little sketchbook.
Oh, please.
It's all going to change. Nothing is permanent. But right as of whatever this week, I don't know if you can see this stuff. I'm working with some color stuff there. That's and awesome. I have this thing that is too complicated.
That
I already know.
A lot of lines
and this is just the color. So, and that's kind of what I kind of will play around and overcomplicate it, and then kind of try to simplify it back down to something I can do. And so that's where I'm at. And it may change drastically and go another direction. I've been doing a lot of things with like these big words and big wings lately. So there may be wings in it before it's all done. But this is kind of that fun part where I just get to kind of play, you know. And
have you worked with chalk, and is it an easy transition to go from your typical medium to chalk? Or I've participated in the Flimp Chalk art for a couple of years, way back. I can't remember the year, but when I was new to town, some of the ASU students and I participated, and we tried it. We did it a couple of years after that. I think it usually happens on the same day as graduation. Always.
So I don't do it as often as I'd like to, but it's not a bad medium at all, and it's kind of fun, and it's easy to deal with. The thing what I remember most is dragging my knuckles on the concrete, by accident while you're trying to shade stuff in. That's a hazard.
Yes,
But
we always kept lots of Band-Aids at the
yeah,
little
yeah.
tent.
So that happens. But other than that, I think it's a lot of fun. And just a little while ago, I did early in the pandemic days, the Student Art League in New York had a pastel drawing workshop that I signed up for, and that was really fun. And I got a few weeks of just kind of smudging pastel around and trying to get stuff, and it's like it's a nice fun kind of tactile medium that you get your fingers in and you can get dirty, and that's
Mhm.
always fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Well, wonderful. Well, we really appreciate you participating, and hopefully next year you'll be on site participating.
Yeah,
But so this is going to release on the 25th, and then we're hoping that people will watch it and they'll be inspired, and they will come to the museum on May 1st, which is a Saturday, from 10 to 3. And we're going to have a national competition chalk artist on site that day.
awesome.
She's going to be drawing something in our outdoor studio. We're going to have some music and some yard games and things like that. It's a very modified Flimp. It's
Okay,
not as great as it used to be, but we're going to work with it.
but it'll be safe. That's
It's going to be very
it'll be
safe. Yes.
safe for now. There you go.
Absolutely. And families that come will actually get to take home a set of sidewalk chalk and go home and create their own stuff.
There you go. Now
Yeah.
that sounds cool. That's what I was talking with my wife, and trying to think, where am I going to do it? And I was like, maybe we should do it right out in the driveway, right in front of the house. And she was like, yeah, that would be good. So
That's awesome.
decorate
Yes.
the house. So it's like, hopefully that'd be nice if all around the city we had chalk art everywhere.
Absolutely. And we're hoping that they will take a picture of it and send it or tag it on our social media, and we're going to Flimp all over Montgomery.
There you go.
So,
Sounds great.
yes. So thank you so much for your time, Al. And I am so excited to see your work. And I hope that it is a great experience for you. And I am just really excited to see what you send us.
Awesome. Thanks so much for inviting me. I am looking forward to it too.
All right. Thank you.
Right.